Today, we will be looking at the history of Romanian cinema. We first see cinematographic projection on May 27, 1896, in Bucharest, Romania. That's just 5 months after the premiere in Paris. The Lumiere brothers' arrival of a train at La Ciotat was shown. Viewings would be held at various locations. One of the main ones was the newspaper building. At the time, Bucharest would be known as Little Paris. In 1897, Frenchman Paul Menu, a former employee of the Lumiere brothers, began to shoot the first film in Romania. On May 10th of that year, the royal parade showed King Carol I going to the parade. Menu's main focus was mostly on filming news. However, the public began to lose interest, and Menu put his camera up for sale. Neurologist Dr. George Mănescu purchased that camera that would make him into not only the first Romanian filmmaker, but he would also be known for the first scientific-based films. In 1905, the first movie theater was built. Vlota was located in Bucharest. At the time, only short films were shown. The first fiction film came about in 1911 called Amor Fatal. It starred local actors from the National Theatre of Bucharest, where it played at the Apollo Theatre. Later, in December of 1911, Raymond Pellegrini announced the premiere of his historical film that depicted the Romanian Independence War that happened between 1877 and 1878. Before the film was premiered, police confiscated and destroyed it, claiming it was inaccurate. After a long process to get the film released, it was finally shown later in September of 1912. Film and theater director Grigore Brezunu said, "My dream would have been to build a large film studio. I have come to believe that this is impossible. First of all, we are missing a large capital investment. Without money, we cannot rival the foreign studios. A studio, according to our financiers, is something outside art, something in the realm of agriculture, or the CFR. Hence, I have abandoned this dream with great regret." From then on, majority of the film that was being produced was for documentaries and newsreels about World War I. In 1921, we learned that Aurel Petescu created Romania's first animated films. Although they were destroyed, the stills that were found showed that it was accompanied by music. Moving into the 1930s, Romania sees its first talking film from German director Martin Berger. It became quite comical because the German actors tried to speak more Romanian, which ended up sounding funny. Shulanda was based off the novel written by Levu Lembrou. Later this decade, Romanian government learns that film can actually help with relaying messages to civilians. In 1934, the National Cinema Fund was created. Shortly after, the ONC, translated to the National Cinematographic Office, was formed, focusing on newsreels and documentaries. The ONC would make its first and last film that translates to A Stormy Night in 1942. This would be frequently referred to for many years in regards to its cinematic art technique. November 2nd, 1948 marked a new beginning for Romania. The period of socialist cinema erupted. Films would show society's everyday people. Shortly after, the Institute of Cinematographic Art was founded. It provided a learning opportunity for all actors, directors, and cameramen. In 1950, construction began to create the first major Romanian film studio. The Beftier studio would take 10 years to build. Today, it is known as Media Pro Studios. We also see in the 50s, Technician State Enterprise is established, later to merge with the Romanian optics industry. Advanced movie projectors, sound systems, lenses, dollies, and lights were produced by them. Although there was an increase in production, there was a decrease in viewings. Many theaters became shut down because of poor maintenance and safety hazards. Equipment had to be imported from various sources and countries, and movies then began to be shown outside. In 1964, Anima Films was the first film studio dedicated to animation located in Bucharest. In 1971, Romania Film Central would be founded. They would finance films from many studios, and they were also in charge of importing, exporting, and screening films. In the 1980s, Romania decreased the number of imported feature films. For example, in the 60s, they were getting about 150 plus films imported, whereas in the 80s, they were getting less than 80 imported. The 1990s brought much research. People examined and researched all the aspects of filmmaking through Romania's communistic and economic periods. The 2000s brought new ideas to Romania. Films began to branch out and the Romanian New Wave began. It featured simple plots with dramatic structures based on its country's culture, heritage, and government. Today, Romania continues to make films. They are said to be the new upcoming country in the film industry. They continue to enter film festivals such as the Cannes and Berlin festivals. The most recent win was Child's Play, directed by Kalen Peter Nedster. It took home the Golden Bear for Best Film at the Berlin International Film Festival.